In today's special Out of the Groove episode, we get to talk to NASCAR Cup Series rookie Quin Houff. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. Just a couple of days ago, I had the opportunity to speak to Quin Houff, current NASCAR Cup Series rookie. A rookie that, while he hasn't gotten the same attention as Cole Custer or Christopher Bell or Tyler Reddick, he's quietly been trying to make a name for himself over at Starcom Racing. This is his first year with that team, obviously first year in the NASCAR Cup Series, and he revealed a pretty awesome throwback paint scheme for this weekend's race at Darlington. Look at this thing. It's like a mural on the side. Absolutely phenomenal looking throwback Permatex paint scheme. Excited to see what that car looks like under the lights this Sunday night. But without further ado, let's go now to my recent interview with driver Quin Houff. Enjoy, y'all. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Out of the Groove. I am joined this week by NASCAR Rookie of the Year contender Quin Houff. How's it going today, man?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, we appreciate having you on. That's a nice looking car behind you. I appreciate a good zoom background when I see one. But you have an exciting Permatex themed throwback scheme for Darlington this weekend. What can you tell us a little bit about the story behind that car and what you're excited to see this weekend?
Yeah, one of our great partners this year, Permatex, has had an awesome paint scheme. We've ran multiple times already this year, and to be able to give them the option and cool throwback scheme that they came up with for us at the Southern 500, which is going to be my first Southern 500. I got a 2 race practice earlier in the season, post COVID break. So I think I'm ready for 500 miles there. Permatex came up with a really cool throwback scheme. This isn't it. This is just the one behind me here that we run already at Martinsville. But the throwback scheme is going to be based off of Milton Marion's 1936 Daytona road course car that him and Bill France Sr. actually built the motor using only the Permatex former gasket products. And it's a pretty crazy history behind all that. And they actually ended up winning by over 3 miles, and only 10 of the 27 cars finished that race. So obviously it's a lot of history and a lot of different history from what we're doing now, but it'll be super cool to get the final product out to you guys, and cool to have that kind of history on our Permatex Camaro on September.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like a good sponsor story like that. You mentioned it a second ago there. You know, you've already run Darlington twice this year. It's been an unconventional season by any stretch, but this is also your first full-time season in the Cup Series. So what has the experience been like this year as a Cup Series rookie?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, especially in the position I'm in, it's been a very tough year. Being a full-on rookie, for any of us, we got a really strong rookie class, and you see those guys all the way up there. You know, Christopher Bell, Cole Custer even struggling, and then on top of that, I'm with a newer, smaller team where there's a lot of different pieces that got added, including me in the off season for Starcom Racing. But we all believe in each other 100%. We win and lose as a team. This year's been a lot of learning experiences, especially with no practice. But we've been making big investments and big steps towards coming to the track more prepared each week. And like you said, starting off at Darlington, it was kind of weird and eerie. No practice, no qualifying. There were no fans. We were on lockdown. But it seems like it's just become a grind now. And thankfully, we're starting to integrate fans back. And we're starting to figure out this new procedure and starting to knock off some good finishes. So to be able to get to this point in the season now where I'm going to go back to these places now and have some experience and have some laps, and the teams have note of what worked, what didn't work. Hopefully we can go back and see that big improvement.
Certainly. For people who don't know a whole lot about your racing history, talk a little bit about what got you into racing at first and kind of what sort of started your journey into NASCAR.
Yeah, my family has a racing background at all. I got this bug all on my own. I'm from a small town up in the Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, and I just grew up a little league baseball player like, you know, any other 8-year-old boy would be doing. And I just started to notice that all the bat and bullpens, there's always this go-kart tracks out back. And I used to get out there and beat up on my dad or whoever racing on those. And I saw a picture in the little office area where you purchase your tickets for it of a kid that was doing go-kart racing for real. And I started just to bug my dad, just wanted to do that for real. And he was like, well, you know, I know nothing about it. You know, he's just a Sunday NASCAR fan that watches the Cup Series on TV every Sunday, and I did with him. So we just started doing that when I was at age 8 as a hobby here locally. And luckily we met a lot of great people because like I said, we had no idea what we were doing, and it just kind of grew from there. Won a lot of races early on in go-karts and stepped up to mini cups and raced at 3/8 mile tracks around Virginia. And that's kind of when I looked at him and was like, I think I want to try to pursue this as a career. You know, I've grown to love the sport of stock car racing and NASCAR. And he was like, well, I didn't know what we were doing to begin with. I really won't know now. So I had to find some development groups. And luckily, like, I found a full-size stock car for late model stuff at the age of 13 or 14, I believe, was when I got in a full-size stock car and raced in the late model stocks and then into the supers when I was 16 and 17. And I went from short track racing all up and down the East Coast and the Midwest straight to Daytona in an ARCA car. And ended up having that's kind of where I kind of felt like my career kind of sparked. I led a good portion of that race. It was very competitive. Unfortunately, didn't get the finish we deserved out of it on strategy. But yeah, that led to some Xfinity opportunities and debuted in Bristol in an Xfinity car. And people thought I was crazy for doing that, and ended up stealing the top 15 with a smaller partial time team there. So, I mean, it's just been, I've never had that full-time deal. I've never had that same, never really stayed with the same team. I always had, pick and choose or just last minute opportunities. And that's been kind of tough. And obviously it makes it hard to knock the rust off and get right back into whatever opportunity you run into. But I always treat every race like, I don't know if I'll ever be back behind the wheel again. And that's kind of what I've always said and what I always drive like. And that's what's led me to this point now. Being able to be a full-time Cup Series driver is the dream. And now I'm here and very fortunate and humbled to do it. There's a lot of people that never get this opportunity. And I just continue to have that drive. Like I said, you just can't take anything for granted. And then, COVID strikes and it just shows you again. And a lot of people are always like, oh, wait, how did the COVID break affect you? It's like, I've been having breaks, months breaks in between races for years now. So it might not affect me as much as others. But like I said, the definite procedure change with no practice and qualifying for a rookie and a small team has definitely been tough on us this year. But I can't thank my Starcom guys enough and all my sponsors and the Permatex and all of our sponsors, Good Greek and Units. We had a lot of great looking race cars this year for sticking with us, because this is not only tough, for the sports world, it's tough for everybody. So I'm very fortunate to have a lot of great people around me.
Certainly. Now, I do have to ask this. When you jumped into the Cup Series last season, it was a part-time deal last year, obviously full-time this year, but it kind of surprised a lot of people. Like you said, you hadn't run a whole lot of Xfinity, didn't have a whole lot of full-time experience, had been a lot of limited schedules. I'm sure you see some of the comments. There's a lot of skeptics out there wondering, like, if you could hold your own in the Cup Series car. You mentioned that great run in Xfinity Series at Bristol, but there's still some skeptics out there. I know how it is. Like, you're a young race car driver. You're just trying to make a career driving race cars. You're taking the opportunities when you get it. Like, that's what you have to do. But I do want your perspective on that topic. Like, what do you say to fans who maybe aren't entirely sold on Quin Houff?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so unique because I feel like the way racing is portrayed to a fan and the way racing actually operates, I guess you could say behind the scenes is completely different. And that's where that kind of void is when you see people's opinions of who or what is portrayed. But like I said, we didn't have any racing background. There was no real name or big money for me to get, that full-time deal or whatever people think you need to do to get to the Cup Series. And it's just we learned real quick that racing is really a business, and there's a lot of things that have to line up for people to get opportunities to drive race cars at any level. And that's just part of the deal. And a lot of talent doesn't ever get, any opportunities. And that's just because the money didn't line up or the sponsorship didn't line up. So like I said, there's a lot of business sense that you have to make out of racing. But I worked very diligently with NASCAR through my career from the ARCA Daytona race all the way to getting approved to run in Xfinity, and then running bigger tracks in Xfinity, to leading that into Cup opportunities and starting out short tracks Cup, like you said last year, and working your way through up into bigger tracks in the Cup Series. And my goal was just to be, as a license, as a full-time eligible, license-wise Cup driver. and that was my goal for the end of last year, and that's where we ended up, and that's what led to the opportunity to be able to drive for Starcom, along with all the great partners that came along with us to help elevate their program, being their third full-time year in the Cup Series. So it's just good to finally, like I said, finally find a place that's willing to grow and willing to invest in with me and put me in their program that can help continue to grow their team to become a well-known Cup team in the garage. So there's just a lot of things that go around other than just like, oh man, like it's hard for people to say he's got to run this or that, he's got to accomplish this or that. There's so many different ways for any driver coming from any background. It's hard to have a definite timeline, but I mean, I agree fully. Like there's definitely times, especially this year. I mean, am I ready experience wise? No, but can you shame me for having the opportunity and taking it? And I feel like I've done a good job. I've proven that I can do this and that I belong here. But obviously, I mean, nobody predicted COVID or not having any practice and stuff that makes this hindering a lot, or this process for me a lot harder. But you just gotta let people have their opinions. They have Twitter to have their opinions, and that's all there is to it. I just like to continue to go out there and prove that we can do it.
Definitely. No, I appreciate you answering that question. You kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but obviously the pandemic and the hiatus and now no practice, no qualifying, it's made it difficult also on race teams. And you've mentioned you guys have a lot of great sponsors behind you, but for a smaller, newer team like Starcom, how have they been able to persevere this season?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is just a whole different ballgame this year. It's been a very unique situation, and like I said, this team at Starcom Racing have really invested in with us, and we've gotten some equipment, some pull down rigs and stuff to help us better prepare our race cars to be ready to come to the racetrack the best we can get them, as well as just newer equipment or owning our own motors, being able to do that, and adding new things to our equipment lines is just kind of, we ended up making this really a rebuild season. We're just really figuring out how well we're going to work together, what works, what doesn't, with our equipment, and, getting the experience we need for me and for them together, and hopefully heading into a more normal 2021. Now that we know it's with these cars, we can kind of fine tune on them and see what we need to do. So I think every team has a different perspective of this, but hats off to NASCAR and all the health officials to get us back so soon, being one of the first sports back and having procedures put in place to keep us safe and healthy enough to continue to do this. And it's kind of crazy to think that we're already getting ready to, as of last weekend, now we're back on track, like normal schedule. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to going through this playoff schedule. And like I said, I'm excited to get all these tracks I get to go back to, which is very good for me, because going to a track for the first time under green flag conditions at the top level, of motorsports is a very tough challenge. It happens fast. So to go back with any experience now, I think it's going to help me tremendously. And I know we've grown together as a team, so I'm excited to see all that hard work start to show and pay off.
And looking towards the future a little bit, this is kind of a weird in-between period for teams. We've heard other teams talk about the importance of the next-gen car being introduced, I guess, in 2022 at this point. What are you as a driver looking forward to the new car, and what effect do you think a new car like that and that whole new, everything that comes with it, what effect do you think that's going to have on teams like yours?
Yeah, I think the new car is just very exciting for the whole NASCAR industry as a whole. I think that they're going in a very good direction to put better racing product on the racetrack each and every week, and I'm excited to be a part of that transition. Obviously, with what's going on, we've backed that up to 2022. But just for a small team like us, it's kind of rejuvenating to be able to get equipment and equipment that's the same as what another team would be buying. Obviously, there's still going to be thresholds that bigger teams have opportunities sooner than we do, but out the gate, I feel like that gap will definitely be shortened with the next gen car, and it'll really show a little bit more about not the team size or the sponsorship budgets, and show a little bit more about the drivers and the team's ability to tune race cars. So that's what stock car racing is all about, and I'm glad NASCAR is trying to get back in that direction, and I look forward to being a part of that transition.
And for you personally, what does the future look like for you? Like, where do you see yourself a couple of years down the line? I know things are across the world at this point are quite uncertain, but where do you see yourself going forward in your NASCAR career?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I always leave it up to God. I know that He's put me here for a reason, and I mean, even through the season, it's like sometimes you look and like, man, why am I here? Why am I in this situation right now? Sometimes it's not the easiest, or it's not what you expected it to be. But like I said, I just treat every race like I don't know if I'll ever get back behind the wheel again. That's just, even though I have a full-time deal with StarCom Racing this year, I still treat it that way. Even though I'm still planning to race with StarCom Racing next year, I'm still going to treat it like I don't know if I am. That's how I'm going to drive, and I think that's just going to lead me to each and every next opportunity, wherever that may be, and I'll be ready for the next challenge for sure. But as far as direction on that, I'll just leave that to the man upstairs and just continue to do what I do each and every week. And this week's challenge is Daytona, and anybody's got a shot to go there and steal the last spot in the playoffs. So we're going to hopefully have a good run and be around at the end to mix it up a little bit.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll definitely be watching. Well, best of luck to you the rest of this season, Quin, and best of luck with your future and with StarCom Racing. Going to be a great looking Permatech scheme we see at Darlington. So, yeah, we'll be watching out for you. Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
A huge thank you to Quin Houff for being on this week's episode. I hope you all enjoy that. I'm excited to see Quin Houff race this Sunday night at Darlington Raceway in that, once again, that amazing throwback Permatech scheme looks pretty fantastic. But yeah, huge thank you to Quin for being on the show. That's all I've got for this special episode of Out of the Groove. I hope you all enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. We talk about NASCAR almost every single day on this channel. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Of course, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I could not do this show without your support, so thank you a ton for supporting Out of the Groove. I still have a couple big videos planned for later this week that I'm sure you all will enjoy, so keep an eye on your subscription boxes. But that's all I've got for now. Take care, everyone. I will see you all again very, very soon.